Welcome back, all you beautiful crafters. We are back with another tutorial. Today we are going to go over using text in Design Space. So we're going to go to New Project. We start out with this screen. Now if you notice, most of the time when you go into Design Space, there's usually a grid, and there's no grid on my screen at this moment. That is because for me, when I make a project and I'm sending it to a customer or potential customer, what's on my mat, I don't like to send a photo of what's on my mat or the SVG or the file or the clip art or whatever it is that I'm going to be using. I don't like to send it with the grid in the background, so I remove the grid so that I can come down here to my snipping tool and I can take pretty much a photo without the grid in the background. So you see this is the photo that I did on my last video, the intro pretty much for my last video, and I just took the grid out of Design Space and just pretty much cut it out. You can go up here to Canvas, you can come down to Settings, and right here you have Language, grid options, units, saving for offline. It's good to save to the cloud and the computer offline. I don't mess with the units. I'm using English, so I have no reason to change the language. So you can come over here to Settings and you can mess with grid, and so you have full grid, which is this. When you back out, this is what you see. Okay. You have partial grid. There you go. And then you have, of course, no grid, which is right here, just a blank screen. Now, if you don't want to go all the way into Settings, you can come right here to this corner where you see 0 and 0, and you can hit this little square that's right up and in between them. And there is your full grid, partial grid, no grid. Alright, so over here on the left hand side you have a panel, and you're going to go to Text. And so when you click on Text, you have some options that pop up here at the top. You can go ahead and type in whatever it is that you're going to type in. So, hello. We're going to select it and we're going to move it up. Okay. And so you have, just with this, you have several different options that pop up here at the top. You have an undo. Just undo is exactly how it sounds. It just undoes what you've already done. You have redo. So if with undo, you see that undo took me moving the word hello from the top back down to the bottom where it previously was. I want it back at the top, so I'm just going to hit redo. In order to keep working on this particular text, we're going to just select it. So now you have line type, which is cut, draw, and score. We're going to work with cut right now. Draw changes the way that it looks and what it's going to tell your Cricut machine to do, and score as well. But we're just going to work with cut. Then you have color. So you have several different color options here to work with. So we're going to assume that we're going to make a project and we want hello to be blue. We can change it to blue. You can also go down here to advanced and you can choose a blue. Choose a different color. There's purple. There you go. We're going to change it back to black. Just keep it simple. Then we have fill or no fill. No fill just keeps it on cut. Print. Print means that you have to print it through your computer. Okay, we're going to turn it back to no fill. Deselect just takes the box that's around where you see the X the rotate, the lock, and the expand, and you just deselect. And now we're just going to select edit, cut, copy, paste. So cut just removed it. Then we're going to paste it back. Copy. Copy pretty much duplicates, and paste just puts it back on your mat. So we're going to get rid of that one. Going to select. Yeah, flip. So flip, you're probably not going to use a whole lot with text. You may use it more with images, but flip, you can flip it horizontally, like mirror image. So let's undo that for just a minute and just duplicate. Okay, so let's say you just want to make something really cute and you want to mirror image it. You can go ahead and do that right here on your canvas before you send it to the mat. So let's say you just want to make something cute and it says hello beautiful, but you want hello to be backwards or beautiful to be backwards before you send it to your mat to be cut. Then you can go ahead and do that here. Now you can also do that on the mat. Most of the time it's going to be easier. You're probably going to use the flip for images more than you will text, but it's there however you need to use it. And you can flip it vertical. So you just flipped it upside down. Alright, so we're going to flip it back. Okay. Then you have size over here. So currently inside this box, this word is 2.668 inches wide. That's how wide it is. Let's say you need something to be 2.5 inches, so you put 2.5. Now you can scale it here. I scale it here a lot of times when I need to look up close at something, when I want to work on it, and it's a little easier to see. So you can scale it with this scale button over here in the bottom right corner. But let's say you have something, you're going to put it on a shirt, you're going to put it on a canvas, you're going to put it on a tumbler, and you know the size has to be 2.5 inches wide. So 2.5. There you go, 2.5. And it needs to be 1 inch high. 1 inch high. So you have width, which is W, height, which is H. So if you notice, we wanted this font to be 2.5 inches wide. Oh, that was 25. 2.5 inches wide by 1 inch tall. But when I put in those measurements, it changes one or the other. 1 inch tall equals 2.665. If I take this back over to 2.5 inches like it was, it takes it down to 0.938 on height. So how do we do that? We go down here to the unlock button, or the unlock button right here in between these two, and unlock it. This allows for you to scale it to your measurements however it's good for you. So you can scale it here. You can stretch it and distort it. You want it super long. You want it super narrow and skinny. You can squeeze it up, down, side to side, however it fits. Or you can just type in your measurements up here. So we're going to lock it back. We're going to work on rotate. So in the very first video I did, we did a knockout. And when the knockout appeared on the screen, it came in as a 90-degree angle. Okay? And it came in vertical like this. So you can take this rotation right here and you can turn it. You can see it as you turn the word, the box stays the same. And you can just turn it however you want to. Or if you have specific, you can come up here and you can rotate it to how, like a 45-degree angle or a 90-degree angle or 360 degrees. So 180 degrees flips it completely upside down. 90 degrees vertical. 45. So you get the idea with that. Gonna put it back to 0. There are more options right here, and this is for position. Position of your font or your image or whatever it is on your mat. So right now your Y, which is the very top of this box right here, is 3.897. So let's put it on the 4 mark. That puts it right here on this mark right here, the top line. This is your Y position, the very top line. Your X position right here is where it falls up here at the top. So your X position is right here. We're going to move it down to 2, makes it a little easier. There you go. So now your X position sits on 2 and your Y position sits on 4. I have yet to be able to use this. I understand that it used to be very beneficial, but I have yet to use it, but it is there if you find a reason to need it. Alright, so now we're coming back down into fonts. We'll come back up here to align and arrange when we add some more things into that we can align and arrange. We can use these buttons. Right now Cricut knows that we don't have enough on the board to or any reason on the board to be able to use it. So we're going to just come down here to font, and right now it's in Cricut Sans. And during my how to download from DaFont video, I talked about when you click on fonts, we have all, which is everything that's available. Any fonts that are available on your computer, any fonts that you have downloaded, and of course the Cricut Access. And you'll be able to see over here anything when you click all that has the A next to it is an Access font. If you have Cricut Access, there's going to be multiple fonts that are free to use. There may be a few that you can see right here where it says you need to pay for them, and it will let you know how much you need to pay. It will tell you that it's what kind of font it is: single layer cutting, multi-layer cutting, and writing. So you can write with this one. So it will explain to you underneath the fonts what kind of font this is for. You may have different projects where you need something like writing, single layer or multi-layer. This one is specifically just for writing. So if you decide that you want to buy one of these fonts, you can click download over here. You can use these fonts. Let's see if it'll click. There you go. You can use these fonts in Design Space while you're designing, but when you go to make it, it's going to ask you to check out. So it's going to ask you to pay for it before you can actually use it. So we're going to go back. We're going to go back up here to font, and we're going to do system. System fonts are all the fonts that are already on your computer that are downloaded, whether it be with Access, or through DaFont or another font downloading website, or whatever is available on your computer. Maybe the manufacturer's, the computer manufacturer's font. And you can see these single layer. And let me just say, like a multi-layer font may have something like a shadow or an outline that comes with it, something like, I can't think of what it's called. I'm having a brain fart, but it pretty much can have like a shadow or something extra that comes with it. These are single layers, so that it's not going to have anything extra but the font that you see. So we're going to start with, I always pick this font, and I know that it has this weird little ring around the first letter. It always gets me. Alright, let's find just a regular font. So we're back to hello. This is just a regular print font. We'll come back to script here in just a minute and we'll learn some more about that. But we're going to move over to style, and you have regular, bold. Bold just thickens it up just a little bit. We like them thick. Italic gives it a little bit of a lean. And bold italic. We're going to send it back to regular, and you can click on font size. This is just like in any kind of writing. Maybe you have Notepad or word processor or whatnot, you have font size. So you can click the font size. I prefer just to scale it however I need it. Alright, you have letter spacing, and I have letter spacing with a lot of prints and with a lot of scripts. It's going to come in handy because with some print and with a lot of script, you may find that you want some of these letters to be a little closer together. There's a good space in between some of these. So again, unlocking, it keeps them proportionate to how they are. You may see that they don't necessarily get closer together. The letters themselves don't get closer together. They just stay proportioned to each other while squeezing, while the image itself gets disproportionate. So with letter spacing, what it's going to help you do is it's going to help you squeeze these letters together without necessarily moving the proportion of the image. The image is going to stay the same size, the text is going to stay the same size for the most part, except for the letter spacing getting closer together. You have line spacing, we'll come back to that in just a moment. You have alignment, which at this moment we don't have anything that we can align with. So we're just going to go back to left. We have curve. We're going to go ahead and add on to this word. So if you double click the hello, we're going to say hello beautiful. Alright, it's a little too big to be able to see on the screen, so we're going to come up here and we're going to change the width of this so we can see a little better. Fits on the screen much better. Now, as you see, there is a space right here. It doesn't seem to show up right here. Some fonts do that. Some fonts do not give you the spacing in between certain letters that it needs to be, and in other letters, there's too much space. We're going to work on curve right now. Right now, the curve is set to 0. If you slide this to the right, it starts curving down, like it would curve around a circle. Now, if you curve it too much, sometimes the letters can overlap. But right now, it's curved itself into a circle. And we're going to drag this down just a little bit. You can curve to the left, and it curves it up. Put it back to 0, and hit enter. Now, we can do something like, let's duplicate, and we can flip this upside down. Look at that. Mirror image. This is where somewhere like flip would be fantastic. You can mirror image it. So let's say that we want to curve this around some kind of circle. Have a circle in here, and we can go over here to shape and pull up a circle. Okay, we're going to resize this just a little bit, 7.5 inches. And we're going to go ahead and move this to 7.5 inches. Putting the circle right in the center. And we can curve this slightly around the circle. There we go. So if you see right here, the curve is at a 4.845. So go to this, hit curve, and do, if you want it to curve opposite, you curve it on a 4.85. Did it overlap? There we go. So now you curved it around your circle. Alright, let's send this back to 0. And let's just duplicate this without flipping it upside down. So on the one that's flipped upside down, inverted, well, quit acting up. On this one, we don't do the minus, we mirror the curve of the first one. If I said a minus, do not minus, just mirror. So it's 4.85 on this one. You're going to do 4.85 on this one. So let's get rid of this. We're going to curve this at 4.85 because I can remember that number. Okay. Because this one is not flipped. This one minus 4.85. There we go. There we go. So now you have the exact curve, just slightly, just opposite, in an opposite direction, curving around the circle. Okay, we're going to send it back to 0. All right, now you see that we have advanced options over here. And let's say, because there is no space right here in between the Hello Beautiful, and we really do want that space, without having to come in and write Hello and Beautiful on two separate boxes separately. You can ungroup to letters, and you can move each letter and deal with each letter separately. So when you ungroup to letters, you can still select a whole word, but the letters over here on the side are going to cut separately. So if you go over here to make it, you can see this just looks like a bunch of mumble jumble. Makes no real word, but you can see it says Hello Beautiful right here. That's because each word or each letter is just separate. It's not telling, Cricut's not recognizing this as a word, but just as letters. Okay? So let's say with hello, you want the H to be super big and the B to be super big. Ungroup to letters means that you can ungroup and work with each letter by itself. So if you notice over here in the corner, you can also do group and ungroup over here. So you don't have to necessarily go into your advanced options to be able to group and ungroup. Now what I will say is that when you group and you ungroup, you notice that some of the options for your font went away. I can't change the font on Hello Beautiful anymore. I don't know why this is, but for whatever reason, let's see if we attach it, what happens. Still nothing. If you weld it, still nothing. For whatever reason, when you ungroup your word and you group it back, you cannot change the font any longer. So we have Hey Good Looking on our canvas right here, and now you can see the font has come back up. All of our options right here for our font has come back up. We're going to go ahead and change this to another, let's change this. I've decided let's go ahead and do a script. And we're going to size this down just a little bit so we can see. There we go. See that better. Now you can see, for whatever reason, when you come into scripts, it does not connect the letters. And with script, the whole point of script is for the letters to be connected. Script was made so that one didn't have to pick up the pen quite as often as you would with print. You could scroll through and not have to lift your pen quite as often and just keep writing. So with print, and it is a pet peeve of mine, sometimes I see people who take script writing and do not connect them, and they are supposed to be connected. So with script, what we're going to do is we're going to do letter spacing. You notice some of the letters are coming close together. Make it a little bit bigger so we can see. The I and the K are almost touching. It's kind of weird because the E and the Y don't seem to be coming closer together. Let's see. If we keep going, now we can see over here that some of these tails are starting to overlap and the E and the Y are still not connecting. The O is coming through the D. It's just starting to look a little funny. Okay. So this would be a good point in time. We're going to take it back up to use your ungroup and move letters together. So let's get these pretty well. They look pretty decent. So let's just go ahead and I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to hide one of the layers so we can come back to it here in just a minute. This would be a good time to ungroup and move some of your letters where they need to be. That looks pretty good. Move the G over, connect that. They all look like they connect pretty well. All right. Let's say that we don't do anything else other than this. We don't hit group or anything else, and we click make it. Again, because we didn't group them, we didn't attach them, we didn't weld them, to Cricut, it's just a bunch of letters. It doesn't make a word. It's just a bunch of letters. So we come back over here, and we can click attach, and how does that look? They're all connected. They look pretty decent. All right, we're going to go back. We're going to bring this back. You can come down here and you can click detach, or you can go back. There you go, they're all detached. So real quick, I'm going to change this to a light color. Let's say purple. Let's see what purple does. Now if you can look really closely, we're going to change the height. We're going to take it to 7 inches. Hopefully we can see. If you look at some of these, you can see there's a line right here between the E and the Y, where the E and the Y connect. Let's get a little closer. Can you see that? That is because the Cricut is still saying, even though these are attached, that these are not still all the same image. These are still going to cut out as separate pieces. We don't want them to cut out as separate pieces because when you click on make it, it's still going to cut these letters separately, but they're just going to be in line like you had it on the mat. So we're going to cancel. We're going to come back over here. I'm going to make this bigger. And we're going to weld them. So when you weld them, let's go look at them again. That line that separated the E and the Y is gone on all the letters. Let's scroll over. On all the letters, you'll be able to see that these are all connected, just like if you were to write it in your own style. These would all be connected. So if you go to make it now, is way too wide. Let's say 7 by 6. If you go to make it now, you won't have individual letters. It'll all be one piece. It'll all come out as one smooth piece as long as it's all connected. So again, with welding makes anything one image. So if you watched one of the previous videos, it was slicing a monogram, or cutting a monogram in half, pretty much. We took a letter and welded a rectangle to it, and when you do that, we'll just go ahead and do that here. Actually, let's make that an uppercase. There we go. And when you add any kind of shape, square, rectangle, heart, doesn't really matter, it makes it part of the letter. So welding makes it part of it. So now this is one full shape. This is not a letter and a shape. This is one. Cricut recognizes it as one full shape. Alright, so let's get rid of this and bring back the one that we duplicated. And let's bring this one down to 7 inches. We can take it up just a little bit. Okay, looks like it's, other than the Y and the G, it looks like it's pretty well together. Let's see. So when you take your text, phrase, sentence, whatever it is, and you hit enter, like I did here, hey. Okay, but we did hey, enter, good looking. So now you have 2 lines. And one of the biggest problems that I run into is that with certain images that you use, certain phrases, catchphrases, sayings that you want to put on a shirt or a cup or canvas, wherever you're putting it, right? Previously, I used to because maybe I wanted to do hey in a different font and good looking in the font that it's in right now. Used to, I'd have to write hey and then good looking, and then I figured out that you can do ungroup to lines. So now it has separated it, and so now I can write a full paragraph if I want to and ungroup it to lines and work on each line separately. So you can still see that I can change the font up here, and I can do a different font for hey. Move up the letter spacing so you can see. Hey, good looking is in 2 different fonts. It was originally wrote in this font. So let's take good looking and let's hit enter there. Again, enter, ungrouped lines. And now this is still one word, but now it's in separate lines. Instead of having to write the word, hit text again, write another word, hit text again, just ungroup to lines. Now with this, now you can come in with a line. Get rid of this real quick. We're going to do hey good looking again, okay? Hey good looking. To make it a little bit bigger, we're going to see if we can't fix some of the letter spacing. It's not too terrible. Could be better, but it's not too terrible. Hey good looking. Let's put an enter in there. Okay. So with this alignment right here, you can, it's aligned left, you can align center, and you can align right. So you can do that while it's all together. And you're still going to want to weld these. Even though they're together and you haven't ungrouped them, you're going to want to weld them because it makes it one image. Right here, it's one image. We're back with the hey. We're going to do the letter spacing again. So I want to put a heart in there. And we're going to turn the heart some form of pink. And I want the heart to be somewhat behind the hay. But right now it's in front of it. So what do? We come up here to arrange, and we can move it backwards, or we can send it to the back. And again, when it's in the back, you can move it forward or send to front. Okay? If you click on both of these, you can hit align here, and you can align to the left, center, right, top, vertically, bottom, and center again. These, when you hit make it, they're going to come out on two separate mats, the pink and the black layer. You can attach them, and all it does is make everything one color. We can go back. Let's see what happens if we weld them. Weld them, it doesn't even exist. Again, the weld just made it one image. Instead of the hay and the heart, the heart pretty much absorbed the word hay and made it one image. Alright, so we're going to undo this. Okay, and you have the option of flattening. If you see up here right now, it says cut and no fill. If you do flatten, pretty much what it does is it turns it into a print, and then you can cut it. Okay, so we just delete that. The last thing that I want to show you that not a lot of people know, and this is I find this very helpful, is it's wordmark.it, and we're going to turn on our Adobe Flash right here. We're going to allow it to happen. Okay, and we're going to go with Hello Beautiful. We entered our word or a phrase, and if we push enter, what happens is all of the available downloaded fonts on our computer, we can see what they're supposed to look like, and we can choose fonts. I prefer to choose fonts this way. So if somebody wants a script word or font or something like that, I don't want to go in Cricut Design Space font by font trying to figure out which one looks good, mess with the letter spacing. Does this one work? Does this one not work? I prefer to come in here and look at them like this. I feel like I can see them better this way. So this is all of your system fonts. If for some reason you're using a font you don't quite know when it's connected what it's supposed to look like, this is a good way for it to show you what it should look like when it's connected. And it is free to use. There is no subscription or anything else. The other thing is let's say I really like this font. I can click on it. I'm like, I like this font. Don't know which one I'd like better. So let's see them next to each other. So we click on them, and it brings them up. When you show fonts, it brings them up so you can see them side by side. I find it's really helpful to use. We're going to go back over here to Cricut one more time real quick. And I'm going to bring up, which one did we have? I don't remember which one we had. I'm going to bring up a font for you to see. One thing that I want you to notice sometimes with fonts that people seem to have a problem with. Okay, I can't seem to find a font and to not continue to take up too much time. There are certain times when you have a beautiful script font like this, where you do the letter spacing and it's nice and pretty and it's close together how you want it to be, and you come down here and you click weld or attach, and all of a sudden the E, the blank spot in the E or the blank spot in the L or the O or A or whatever other letter, all of a sudden it goes completely black. It fills completely in. And we've had a lot of people that are like, oh my God, I don't know what's happening. Why is this doing this? Most of the time, if that happens, it's because your letters are too close together. So I'm going to, you see it's at a negative 2.3. I'm going to take this spacing up and you can see how much space. See, now you can see right here where the L's are. They're kind of starting to come apart now. There's so much space in between some of these that there's a lot of leeway. If you put them too close together, it doesn't seem to be doing it on this particular one. But sometimes with certain fonts, it'll cause pretty much the centers to black out. So just be careful with those. If it does happen with you, just go back, undo, and move your letter spacing just a little bit. Give it some room in between there. Sometimes it happens with T. So again, to keep this as short as I possibly can, sometimes pieces of letters come up missing. Sometimes they fill themselves in. 90% of the time it's just because it's too close to another letter and you need to space and resize maybe a certain letter. This didn't seem to work on this one. And that's a lot. I have a lot of fonts to go through to try to find one that's going to work, and I'm just not going to do that right now. I'm sorry, but I'm sure plenty of you have either experienced this or will experience this. So just keep in mind, if the little swoop in the T or a certain letter fills in when you go to weld or attach them, just know it is because a letter is too close to another. All right, so now that you've come to the end of this, I will make mention of this in the next video, but I just want to let you guys know that there is a subscribe button down below and a notification bell, and it would make me really happy if somebody would take consideration and push both of those. If I get up to 100 subscribers, I'm going to give away a $25 Visa gift card to one of my subscribers. You have to subscribe. I would appreciate, just leave a comment, leave an emoji comment down below and let me know that you've made it this far and that you're looking forward to the next video, and that you have subscribed. Only subscribers will be entered into the giveaway, the contest. I'll give some more details on my next video. We hope that you have learned something. We hope that I didn't drone on too hard. We look forward to seeing you in the next video. We hope you come back and see us. If you hit the like and the notification bell, they both turn blue. It's like magic. We hope to see you in your next video. Come back and see us. Bye.